This is the iPad 10 and this is the iPad Pro 4 with the M2 chip, and they are my first ever iPads. I've been moving to the Apple ecosystem step by step for the past few years, and the iPad is the cherry on top. I've always wanted to try an iPad since I was a kid. And of course I was super excited to use not only one but two iPads at the same time. Let me start with the hardware. Both iPads are really slick and slim. The iPad Pro with that 120Hz refresh rate on a big screen is so satisfying. On the other hand, with the iPad 10 we have 60Hz, which is really underwhelming, especially since I've been using 120Hz with the iPhone 14 Pro and the MacBook Pro 14, but it's okay for the average user. Plus, it's not laminated in 2022. Come on, Apple, what were you thinking? The huge screen for the mobile games is really nice. I loved gaming Clash Royale on a big screen. I've been playing it on a small phone my entire life, playing Call of Duty with that details. And by connecting a PS controller, you have a really nice and light gaming setup on the go. The speakers are one of the best I've heard. The Pro has 4 speakers, 2 on each side, and on the other hand the iPad 10 has 2 speakers, 1 on each side. It's a little bit annoying if you find yourself holding the iPad in a horizontal way most of the time, and it's a bit interesting that they chose to put the speakers that way at a time when they repositioned the camera to the horizontal way, but on the iPad Pro they kept it on top in a vertical way with all the Face ID stuff. The new position of the camera on the iPad 10 is much better than the iPad Pro, at least when you have the iPad sideways. On the back side of both iPads, we have great cameras. The iPad Pro has a slight advantage over the iPad 10 with that dual cameras, but barely. I don't see much of a difference. You only get an extra ultra wide lens on the Pro, which is useful in very few situations. I'm not gonna talk about the crazy charging situation of the Apple Pencil on the iPad 10, because a lot of people have talked about it before, but I want to talk about my experience with the Apple Pencil 2 on the iPad Pro in general. It was really nice having it. Being so precise while editing a photo or taking a note. For students and artists, it would be really useful. But the weird thing is that you can't use the Apple Pencil with everything. You can't really rely on it. You'll have to use your fingers sometimes. For example, if you want to go to the home page, you'll have to use your finger. Handwriting in the place of the text was really also annoying because I just want to tap to start writing on the keyboard. But no, it starts writing from the pen and adding dots and weird stuff. But with the trackpad and the keyboard on the other hand, that was really useful. I can use the trackpad with everything. It was really nice to have it with video editing as well. It felt like I was using a Mac with the scrolling with 2 fingers or sliding with 3 fingers. And for the chips, it's so wild how much power we have these days. Both the A14 and the M2 performed perfectly, so smooth across all apps. I tried to beat up the A14 chip to convince myself that the M2 is more worth it. That didn't work out. The M2 chip is an overkill for an iPad. You don't really need that much power anyways. For video editing, for example, I had LumaFusion. I put 6 4K videos on top of each other and it played smoothly on both the A14 and the M2. Just scrubbing was not that smooth, and I don't know if that was because of the iPad itself or the app itself, but that happened on both of them. The only difference is export time, and even that, it wasn't that big of a deal. So if you think that the chip is a deal breaker, think again. On the iPad 10 we have Touch ID, and I was really excited to use it because I really loved Touch ID on the iPhone SE, coming from using Face ID on the iPhone 13 Pro at that time. But I got very disappointed. It's slow, I had to use the passcode most of the time. On the other hand, with the iPad Pro we have Face ID, and it was really smooth. As soon as I just open up the iPad, it recognizes my face, unlocks immediately, and you're good to go. Not something to buy the iPad Pro for, but just something to know. The Magic Keyboard with the iPad Pro was so magical. Clicky keys, a little bit small, but you get used to it by time. Firm and sturdy. Having it with the iPad and the Apple Pencil, you have a very nice package actually, a very expensive one also. But the Magic Keyboard is way better than the Folio on the iPad 10. That one is just not my thing at super all. With the Magic Keyboard, it's so firm and strong that I can hold the iPad from the corner of the iPad Pro. No issues. I can put it on my lap like a laptop and it would be much more comfortable than that Folio stupid thing, in my opinion. Now, software wise, here where it gets a little bit tricky. I've used an iPhone and I've used the Mac, and the iPad is definitely the perfect combination between the two. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can really see how similar it is to the iPhone and to the Mac, yet it's different. in its own way. You get the best of both worlds in one place. iPhone apps with a little bit extra ones with a lot of great features like the photo editing, note taking, video editing apps. You also get the new multitasking feature that is on the Mac, which is Stage Manager. You can really see yourself multitasking on the iPad. The overall experience was very nice. The Magic Keyboard, the lightweight, the big screen were really nice to have on the go. I was able to reply to some emails, write scripts, edit photos, consume content, and read books. For these specifically, it is way better to have an iPad. Better than a Mac, and of course better than an iPhone. But I got the MacBook Pro 14 for a reason. It's small enough to take it around, but not too small to edit videos on a decent screen. So the iPad has no place in my case. It does have a place though for the students, new content creators, digital artists. Having all your notes taken in one place is very useful. For content creators, you have a great camera to shoot, a great chip and screen to edit the videos, and a great software to distribute. And if you mix up the iPad 10 with the iPhone SE, you have an excellent combination. And both of them are cheaper than the iPhone 14 Pro. And if you're someone like me that needs a professional software, well, the iPad is not for you. As much as I love the iPad and I've been dreaming about using one, it doesn't have a place for me. And that will be the ending of a very, very sad story. That's been it. Subscribe for more. See ya.